Hey Bass Fanatics, Den Haring here. Welcome back to my channel, Fish Den 365. Recently I went to a secret lake. You know, most of the time I like to fish my local lakes that are very pressured, and part of the fun for me is figuring out how to catch fish in pressured waters under pressured conditions. But every now and then I like to get out and play and fish a place that is not pressured so much, that is not known to people very well. And so this video, I went to what I call a secret place. I guard this place. I don't talk much about it because I don't want it to be known, and I'll talk to the reasons for that in a few minutes, but enjoy the video. Folks, when you're looking for special waters to fish, you can't count on boat launches. We're here at a very special place. I haven't been here in about 8 years, but every time I've been here, it's been a really cool experience. You can see here there's no boat launch, but there's a spot that we can back her in, and you can bet we're going to try and get this boat in here. This should be interesting. It's been a long time. Hopefully the truck will do the job for us. There's a fallen tree over here that made it almost impossible for us to get to where we are now because there's a mud hole next to it. But four-wheel drive and a few feet later, and we're ready to launch. Can't wait to get out. We'll see how it goes. All right, folks, we made it out here. I am excited to be here. I have this whole place to myself. It's a special secret place. I'm not even going to name it because I don't want anybody to know about it or know where it is. It does get fished. I haven't been here in 8 years, so for all I know, it could be getting fished hard. But based on it being a Saturday and nobody's here, I would guess it's not. And because of the heavy and high rains we had this year, when it rains here, it keeps people out because it gets real muddy where you can launch a boat. And unless you have a canoe or a kayak, you're not getting in here without possibly getting your car stuck or getting your truck stuck. So I think that helps keep people away. One thing I can tell you, since I've been here, there's a lot more lily pads on the water than there used to be. There's a nice hillside over here, and we're going to be concentrating on that as soon as I get done fishing this point with a crankbait. But on this hillside, there's a lot of fallen wood as you go up lake. And in the past, that fallen wood is where a lot of the good fish used to be. I have no clue what's going to happen here today. We're just going to have to figure them out. Whew, that was a lot of work. Now, just like before, it looks like they're hanging in the wood in here, so it's going to be a wood fishing fest. That's the first fish, so it doesn't make a pattern, but I know this lake well enough to know that usually they're in the wood. This guy was. Been caught before. He's beat up a little bit. Little skinny, big head, not bad. Fought hard. All right. A little fat, see. Got this one on the jig. It's a little better than the last one. Usually the jig bite is. Alright. We're getting it together. Bit better. He hit it right away on the fall. There's 3 bass on 3 different baits. I'm not sure what that's telling me. Except that I like what it looks like over here. See if I can get bit in again here. Might just have to keep chucking the jig and just chucking it and chucking it. This one ate it on the fall. Little guy, but better than nothing. Oops. The little ones always try and get you wet. That's called instinct. Haven't gotten any big ones yet. I've got good bellies on them though. Bass. Fish. Alright. See if that camera's still on. With a little bit of wind blowing, got this one on the toad. I'll take a topwater bite any day. There we go. A little better than the last one. See if we can't get another on the toad. He ate it good. Lost him. Bad hook set on my part. Senko fish. Just had an epic fight. The battery died, but I have another battery so I can at least show you my fish. It's an epic fight, folks. This is a nice one. Good 4-pounder. Worked for him. Jig fish. Usually the bigger fish are. That's why you come out here, for this kind of fishing. Oh man, let's put him back. He's good, man. Let's get another one before it gets dark out here. I think from here on in, I'm just gonna pitch this jig all over the place. So when you find a lake like the one we're fishing in this video, you have to protect it. It's a small lake, it's not very many acres, and if too many people get to know about it, the fishing there will be ruined. I can give you a very good example of this. When my son and daughter were very little, 3, 4, 5 years old, I had a friend who lived in a community that had a community pond, a very small pond that had a spring house that fed it. It was actually a spring-fed pond. And she told me about this pond, and it was near where I was going to school at the time, at college actually. She told me that there were some nice fish in the pond, so I went there and noticed that it was very clear water. There were a lot of big bluegills swimming around and a lot of nice bass. And I fished it, and I actually went there because the water was so clear to test some of my fishing lures. So I started taking my son and my daughter to this pond to catch big bluegills, and it was a great place for them to learn how to do that and enjoy catching giant bluegills. When I noticed one day I was there with them, and a guy drove by and was watching us catch the fish. Within 2 weeks, there were people out there fishing that pond with buckets and just filling their buckets up with everything they caught. The community caught on to it, and they ended up making the pond private. But before that summer was over, that pond was decimated. There was just no fish left in it like there was earlier, and the fishing just became very difficult. So fisheries like the one that we're in this video, this secret place, can absolutely become fished out with a little bit too much pressure. And so that's why you have to protect these kind of places. When you find a place like this, keep it as your secret. Share it with only a few of your best friends who you know can keep their mouths shut. Otherwise, you're going to have a place that just isn't the same after everybody gets to it. So some of what we were using and catching the fish on while we were at this place was just a simple jig. It's a man's stone jig, and it's got a blue and black skirt with a bluegill colored Rage Menace trailer on there. You can do a lot of nice things with this. You can throw it out and fish it vertically, but you can also swim it along and use it as a swim jig. So the way I was catching the fish on this particular day on the jig was just letting it drop, and they were eating it on the drop. Another bait that I was using was a Zoom brush hog. This one's called Watermelon Candy. I also got one on another Zoom brush hog color called Candy Bug. I used the Candy Bug when the lighting got a little darker, and I used the Watermelon Candy when it was brighter, with the brighter sun. I got a bass on a sweet beaver. This is a black and blue pattern called Penetration. Caught a decent bass on a toad. This is a Zoom horny toad, and I did dip the tails in dye to make them a little bit lighter to resemble a bluegill tail. And finally, I caught a decent bass on a 5-inch black Yamamoto Senko, wacky rigging it. I also lost 2 wacky rigging it, and the truth be known, if I would have fished this more, I would have caught a lot more bass. I just don't prefer to fish it so much, but it's a fish killer, and on that particular day, I began to discover when I was getting bit on it that my rate of bites was higher than any other bait that I was throwing. So if I would have thrown this on earlier, thrown out there earlier, I'm quite sure that I would have caught quite a few more fish. Great bait for fish catching. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video and got something of benefit from it. Remember, if you like the video, please hit that like button. That lets me know that I'm giving the right content. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that bell so you can get notifications when the next video comes out. When you find secret water, keep it a secret. May God bless your fishing endeavors. We'll see you on the water.